Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch The Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And our special guest this week is an old pal who joined us last season to talk about The Great Muppet Caper. He's back with us this season. Guest, please tell us who you are.
Hey everybody, I'm Peter Papazoglu. I am very occasional Tough Pigs article writer, a one-time Muppet Wiki co-founder, father of two, and returning guest.
Welcome back.
Hey!
Father of two budding Muppet fans, I would say. Is that...
Absolutely, yeah. This is actually we've been watching them in sequence. We do a Friday night movie night in quarantine, and we cycle through who gets to pick. And so we've watched the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper so far, but we have not yet gotten to Muppets Take Manhattan.
Right. That's interesting. So your kids were on board with the sort of slower pace of the Muppet movie?
They liked the Muppet movie. They won't they request not to rewatch it, mostly because of the scary frog killing parts.
Yeah.
Sure.
But generally speaking, they really like them. Even Great Muppet Caper, which was definitely a little slow in the highbrow. Is it highbrow lane?
Highbrow Street. Yeah, the parts that you don't understand why they're funny when you're a kid.
Right, and Peter Falk. Like, the Peter Falk bit comes very soon after that, and you're just like, what is even going on if you're 5?
Yeah.
But then you have the ballet, and you've got, Stepping Out with a Star. When the first time it happens came on, my oldest daughter, she leaned over and she said, "They should play this at weddings."
As you might know, that was our first dance at my wedding.
I didn't know that, but I told her, I said, I know people who I am sure played it at their weddings.
Yeah, it was our first dance.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we're not talking about The Great Muppet Caper today.
No,
we're
not at all.
talking about minutes 17 and 18 of The Muppets Take Manhattan, in which Kermit meets Pete and Jenny, and Pete gives Kermit a pep talk. So we open with Kermit going to try to order some food for the whole gang at Pete's Luncheonette, and then we see Pete, the namesake of Pete's Luncheonette. He's assuring the customers that they're going to get their beef patty and their cow juice. This is, I guess, diner lingo for milk. It's not the last time we will hear diner lingo in this movie. We talked a little bit about Louis Zorich as Pete already, but I wanted to mention this one thing I found. There was a profile on him in the New York Daily News on May 13th, 1984, which was mostly about his stage work. But this movie was about to come out, so he talks a little bit about that. It says, "The big burly actor is laughing so hard talking about the Muppets that tears come into his eyes. There's this one scene when I'm working with Kermit. We finish. Frank Oz, the director, comes over and says with a straight face, 'Louis, I just didn't believe in that scene. The conviction wasn't there.' I said, as diplomatically as I could, 'Frank, I'm working here with puppets. My God, Frank, I'm playing with puppets.' Then the actor burst into laughter again."
Well, it's funny to hear him say that, because I feel like he does make this stuff seem really genuine.
He does. He gives it the gravity it deserves, it needs.
Like Pete could easily have just been like a broad, stereotype, immigrant restaurant owner man, but he seems like a real guy, I feel like, and it's because of Louis Zorich, the way he plays him.
He is both of those things.
Well, no, of course he is. But I mean, he seems more like one you might encounter in real life than he could have in a Muppet movie easily.
He pairs the absurdity of the lines that he is given, which are absurd, with just absolute sincerity. And in that way, it's just so very Muppety.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you do feel like you could walk into a diner in Manhattan and actually see this guy. So Pete is asking Rizzo where Jenny is. Oh, also, I noticed a sign over the door to the kitchen that says Pete's Egg Creams. I always associate egg creams for, like, I don't know. I guess I wasn't aware of egg creams much growing up, but I associate them with episodes of Sesame Street that I have since seen from the old days, the early seasons with Mr. Hooper, where he was making egg creams.
Sure.
So, I have a feeling, I don't know, I feel like Mr. Hooper probably made a better egg cream than Pete, but who knows?
I think you should write a Tough Pigs article about this theory.
Well, I also should, because a while back we had a conversation about egg creams on the Tough Pigs forum, and our mutual friend Jess Evans and I ended up going to Junior's in Times Square to have an egg cream experience there to see if we actually liked them. So.
And I mean, look, the reason that Mr. Hooper probably makes a better egg cream is because probably Masterson the rat is making Pete's egg creams.
Right, yes, that'll happen. Yeah, a little later, so.
True.
Anyway, but it turned out I do like egg creams, so.
Oh, good.
For those who might be wondering. Kermit asks Pete for a menu. Pete says, is special today Yankee bean soup with spoon. Good joke.
It's such a good joke.
Yeah.
Well, and I also love when Kermit asks to see a menu, Pete gets this little smile. Like he's just so pleased that this frog is asking him for a menu. You know, even before he says Yankee bean soup with spoon, he's just like giving a menu to a frog. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, and the frog is so eager that he doesn't even wait for a waiter to come to the table. He just walks right up to the counter.
Well, the waiter already came to their table and then ran away when he learned that they didn't have any money.
That's true. Yeah. The waiter left in a huff.
Yeah.
Was waiter the Rizzo in the prior scene, or was it a human waiter?
No, it was Rizzo. Yeah. Rizzo comes up. Yeah, Rizzo comes up and does his whole like sob story about how he has, all these mouths to feed at home. And then Fozzie says, we don't have any money either. And Rizzo says, sorry, not my table.
Because I only got the 2-minute clip, and when he says Rizzo and then it cuts to Rizzo and he turns around, it almost has the feel of like a reveal scene. Because remember, like Rizzo was not a big thing on the Muppet Show. He was, featured very, in a very small way in Muppets, the Great Muppet Caper. So I feel like this was his real breakout.
I think for the general public, this is where Rizzo starts, right? Like,
right.
He's not part of the classic. He's like the first post-classic Muppet, kind of. Yeah, it's weird.
Like the first, it's weird because he was on the Muppet Show, but it feels like he became part of the main cast after the Muppet Show.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of like how I feel like, Beauregard wasn't really a thing by the time that the Muppet movie was being made, but then he was much more prominent in the Great Muppet Caper, and then you sort of like add Rizzo on top of that but Beauregard has disappeared.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think we found out the Beauregard puppet had just been built when they shot the finale of the Muppet movie with all those characters.
Oh, how interesting.
I think he's actually in there, although he had not yet been in an episode of the Muppet Show that had aired on TV yet. I think that was the deal. But yeah.
And of course maybe we shouldn't mention, but Beauregard and Rizzo both appear in the 2 most recent Muppet films as the subject of a "you never see this guy anymore" joke. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Beauregard in the 2011 movie.
They find Rizzo Beauregard in the closet, where he's apparently just been hanging out in the closet for decades.
Right. And then Rizzo gets indignant that he wasn't in the previous movie in Muppets Most Wanted.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Those are both solid gags.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like Yankee bean soup?
I never had it.
Oh. It's good.
Is it like a white bean? Is it just like a white bean soup sort of thing?
It is.
Is it like a red creamy sort of?
I know I've had it. Like, I feel like I've had it at like a church covered dish dinner kind of,
Oh, I probably have too, and just didn't know what it was.
It is a couple different kinds of beans, navy beans. I guess you can have different kinds of beans in it. Bacon, onion, carrot, celery.
I remember this one time I was gonna have it, but then no spoon.
That's the problem. Yeah, you were at the wrong diner.
I remember one time I went to a diner and got 11 free bowls of Yankee bean soup.
Yeah. So, the door of the diner opens and a young woman comes in. She says, "Sorry, I'm late, Pop." So we know now that this is Pete's daughter and that this must be the aforementioned Jenny. Now, Jenny is played by Juliana Donald. She is sometimes credited as just Julie Donald. This is her feature film debut. Her other credits, her film credits include The Purple Rose of Cairo, the Dragnet movie spoof with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, Brain Donors, which is a pretty good homage to the Marx Brothers, and a Civil Action with John Travolta and Robert Duvall. Did you have another thought on Brain Donors, Anthony?
Just that I agree, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then her TV credits include Murder, She Wrote, Melrose Place, Babylon 5, The X-Files, Monk, more recently, How to Get Away with Murder, and also both Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
And that Deep Space Nine episode that she's in is really good. It's one of the Wallace Shawn ones. So.
Yeah, so she doesn't have a ton of IMDb credits, but the ones that she does have are pretty,
She was apparently also in a non-canonical Star Trek video game, I think.
Oh, yeah, I did see that listed on her Wikipedia page. It's non-canonical, meaning it's like, it doesn't.
I don't know
take place in the continuity.
It's just a game.
The whatever the Star Trek version of the Wikipedia is told me.
The Star Trek version of Wikipedia is called Memory Alpha. I can tell you off the top of my head.
I knew that you would be able to.
Yeah, I like when they do creative names and it's not just like so and so wiki.
Yeah. And,
our wiki sucks.
Well,
no, it's a good one.
No, but it's nice that on April Fool's Day it becomes Muppet Waka, which is
I like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cute. Yeah,
and then it goes back to being Muppet Wiki.
Yeah. She also, we should mention, Juliana Donald, now retired from acting, runs a fine jewelry business called Eco and the Bird, which you can find on Facebook and Instagram. So,
we should link to that.
Mm-hmm.
Eco and the Bird.
In unrelated, what these Muppet people are doing now, I was at the playground the other day where I live. And I saw somebody through the corner of my eye, and I looked at them, and they looked at me in that way of like, I think you might know who I am, but I don't want you to say anything to me. And they kept walking, and I was almost sure it was Allison Bartlett from Sesame Street. And so I texted Joe. I was like, does Allison Bartlett live, in my neighborhood? And he's like, how am I supposed to know? And I said, you're supposed to know. And then the other day, I was just scrolling through some like real estate listings. Somebody had posted something on the neighborhood Facebook group, and it turns out she's a realtor in my neighborhood.
Oh, was that right?
Wow.
So it absolutely was her, and she absolutely did not want anybody to point at her next to the playground and say, "It's Gina from Sesame Street."
You made the right call.
Oh.
Next time I won't.
Or you could, very quietly walk up and say, "I'm a big fan of your work with Telly Monster."
Whatever happened to baby Marco?
Yeah. How old would Marco be now?
15-ish, 14. Yeah. Baby Marco that's like 2006. It's season 37, which I should know because I reviewed that for Tough Picks.
Well, maybe they'll bring Gina and Marco back for a very special episode someday.
Gina was in the 50th anniversary special.
She was, but without Marco.
But she had that great scene with Julia, which was nice because it felt like Gina just lives on the street all the time and hangs out with Julia.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Didn't like Julia's daycare like rip out her veterinary office? Isn't that where it used to be?
Yeah, the community center on the new
community
Street
center, but
is where
veterinarian out of a job.
Yeah, I guess so. Or who knows? Maybe she relocated. Maybe she lives around the corner now.
Maybe she lives in Peter's neighborhood.
Yeah, she moved. And
she's a realtor.
Uptown or downtown or wherever that might be in relation to where Sesame Street is actually located.
Right.
I also
tell.
What was that?
I'll never tell.
Oh, no, don't.
Does anybody know what that's from? That
is from the movie Don't Say a Word.
With Brittany Murphy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you got it.
Who was that? Was that Michael Douglas?
I don't know.
Was
I
the
didn't
guy-
see the movie. I only know I just from the commercials.
Yeah.
20 years later, I'm
It
still
was
saying
in
it.
every commercial, every trailer. I think Michael Douglas was like the psychologist who was working with her, and she was traumatized.
That sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Oh.
I never know what she wouldn't tell.
I saw Little Black Book, but I didn't see that one. All right. What, Ryan?
Everyone go out and watch. Don't say a word. Yes. So Juliana Donald. In looking stuff up about her, I also found a photo of her with Jim Henson, which appears to be at one of his masked balls that he would host at the. I don't know. Did he host these at the Henson Townhouse? Probably not. But he liked to host these masked balls. In this picture, I sent it to you guys. I don't know if you happen to look at it.
I did, yeah.
Jim is wearing this sort of feathery tiara thing, and Juliana Donald has these large, like, oversized novelty sunglasses clipped to her shirt. So I guess it's possible it was just a party, and that's just the kind of thing they did at a Henson party. But
I mean, he kind of looks like he's wearing Fizzgig on his head.
it could have been like a
does kinda,
prototype
yeah.
of Fizzgig. So yeah, I will either, it's from the Getty
Or maybe
photo.
a little bit of that weird, what's that devil bird from the Alice Cooper episode?
Oh, that's Miss Piggy.
Well, I know that's spoilers.
I don't know what it's called other than
Is her
Miss
name
Piggy.
Beaky?
Beaky,
That puppet?
yeah.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has seen that. Although I don't know, that one's on DVD, right?
That's season 3, yeah.
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 I watched that one with my girls. That was, an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alice
My-
Cooper
my
sings a romantic ballad with this very strange looking Muppet creature, and then it turns out that it's Miss Piggy, and she's been like transmogrified into this creature.
Yeah.
Well, she did sell her soul to the devil, but then she decided against it.
Right.
What a great app. I should fire that up right after we finish recording.
I was gonna say I maybe I'll put that photo in the show notes, but it's one of those Getty Images things, so it always feels kind of like cheap because you're really supposed to, pay like $100 to license it. But maybe I'll just put a link to it in the show notes. Anyway, so another thing I wanted to mention as we're just meeting the character of Jenny, in the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay, when she enters, she's described as being very pretty and fresh looking. So, in your opinion, is Jenny fresh looking?
That seems like a strange way to describe a human being. I don't know.
Yes. She's not past her expiration date. She is fresh.
I bet that actresses all over the world are used to looking at themselves being described in terms like those.
I'm sure that's right.
Being compared
sure
to,
that's right.
to
Making me
produce.
very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a different time. Although probably not different enough.
Probably not.
Yeah. Jenny also says hello to a customer named Fran on her way in, which is just a nice touch. I just like the idea that this is a neighborhood place where everyone knows each other.
She does. She feels at home there, She does her little Mr. Rogers thing. She puts on her waitress clothes.
I mean, she probably grew up at the restaurant, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
This doesn't seem like a recently opened place.
We never see them at home.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they don't have a home. Maybe they live in the restaurant.
With 6 rats.
Yeah. So Jenny excitedly tells Pete that she thinks she did great on the test that she just took. It was all essay questions. She thinks she did great.
Can we talk about all essay questions, no sweat, and how that's garbage?
No sweat.
Right?
like my whole life, because here's the thing. I was like a good test taker as a kid. But
you're doing air quotes when you say good.
I'm doing air quotes when I did well in tests. But essays are the worst. If you have multiple choice questions, they take a second. If you have true and false, they take a second. If you have essays, you got to sit there and compose your thoughts. Even if you know the answer, it takes way longer to write. And I write for Tough Pigs now. I still enjoy writing things, but it's way worse than checking a box.
No, finding out all essay is
like
the
being
exam. My first midterm in college was for Chemistry 101, and it was all essays.
Ugh.
And
That's
for
like a
chemistry,
nightmare.
for
right?
chemistry. And then it was a nightmare to start, but I felt like, okay, I'm like, putting enough things together. And then the scores come back, and it turns out he was grading it all on, full credit, half credit, or no credit, which he had not said in advance, which my educational curriculum expert wife now would say is a big no-no. And I got like a D on it because I got, 0 credit on 3 essay questions and like half credit on 1. I was like, I wrote 2 pages and there were definitely facts in there.
Oh man.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the worst. Yeah. I had a professor in college, as long as we're on the topic, who all of his quiz, every book we read in British literature, we had a quiz, and they were always formatted like this, the worst. The first half was multiple choice questions it was closed book, and it was like about very small details that you didn't notice from reading an entire 300-page book in 1 week. Right? And then the second half was essays, but it was open book, and it was always like the professor would write, my opinion is this. Using page citations, tell me why you think this.
Like why you think I'm right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, it should be the opposite. We should have open book for the like small detail multiple choice questions, and we should have closed book for the essay, like about our opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Anyways,
but I think it's supposed to make her seem a little sort of like, quirky, like all essays.
Well, yeah,
she's a go-getter.
Right, exactly. And Jenny's not going to become like a very three-dimensional character, but we're getting a sense of her personality kind of as much as we ever will right here. She's very optimistic and upbeat and, just perky. So that's, she's going to be that kind of friend and, give that kind of encouragement to Kermit and the show. So she starts to begin her shift as a waiter. Rizzo tells Jenny she can take the weirdos at table 4. And it cuts to Gonzo looking around and saying, I wonder which one is table 4.
Okay, but he knows. Gonzo knows.
You think
he's just messing? I think Gonzo knows which one is table 4, and he's doing a bit. Because
I don't think that he is.
You don't? I don't think Gonzo's that delusional. I don't.
The way Gonzo he plays it, though.
Gonzo thinks he's so normal, though.
Yeah, I guess so. I suppose that's right.
I mean, I guess that kind of shifts sometimes. But the way he plays it here, it does seem like he doesn't know who the weirdos are.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's an interesting way to interpret it, though. I like how all the Muppets are just kind of crowded into this one booth, and there's not enough room. So Gonzo, Camilla, and Zoot and Animal all have to sit on top of the booth.
Right.
I love how organic the conversation is, especially when Zoot sort of like wakes up and they're like,
yeah,
go back to bed, Zoot.
Yeah. So that's when they start talking about. I was going to say that means the puppeteers, like whoever has their hand in Zoot, is probably in an uncomfortable position, squeezed inside that little opening on top of the booth there. But yeah, so they're starting to talk about Kermit's speech outside, about how they tried and they failed. Scooter says all the producers looked at them like they were from outer space, and that's when Zoot perks up, actually wakes up because he's been napping. He goes, oh, whoa, and Dr. T says, no, man, go back to sleep. Nobody's landed.
Which is a great joke, but also is one that only works because this movie is low-key and more realistic, I feel like. Because, like, on The Muppet Show, aliens could show up and did.
Aliens did, yes.
And, like, in a later Muppet movie, aliens also will show up and have a song number.
Like, interesting.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, It's not... But in this movie, where, like, they just graduated from college and, like, live in bus lockers because they don't have any money. Like, it works, right. Like we know aliens aren't going to show up, so it works as a joke.
It's actually more like the kind of joke that they did on the Muppets 2015 series.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely more like, haha, Zoot burned his brain out on drugs.
Yeah, Zoot's character is played in a similar way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kermit is ordering 11 bowls of soup. I forgot to count. Is that all of them, including Camilla? Does that... Me and Camilla gets her own bowl of soup.
Do they get a discount for no spoon for Camilla?
Probably Animal doesn't need a spoon either, right?
No, he probably wouldn't. I mean, I guess
He's just gonna drink that. It's soup.
He's like the Beast eating his porridge in Beauty and the Beast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to stop to count them all right now, but I'm sure someone out there is counting them mentally.
And they will let us know. So please do.
Probably doesn't include Camilla, right? Because it's Kermit, Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, Scooter, Rolf, and then the Electric Mayhem makes 11.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
Maybe Camilla doesn't eat soup.
Maybe not.
She just chicken feed.
Yeah, and worms out of the ground.
Yeah, she eats worms out of the ground, I bet.
Yes, and whatever else chickens eat. So Kermit has to tell Pete that although they have a show, a musical that's going to be a big hit on Broadway, right now they don't have any money. And that's when Jenny gets called away by a customer, and Pete delivers his famous speech to Kermit. When you talk about this movie, this is one of the things that people remember the most, I think, about it, which is remarkable considering that not only is this not a Muppet delivering this line, this is actually not a celebrity cameo even. This is just a guy, just an actor.
Yeah, it's just like character actor, yeah.
Yeah, doing the speech. Before I quote the whole thing, there's part of it where he says, so to me it sounds like he says, not city open. But when I looked it up in a couple places, it's been quoted several times as not city only.
I was going to ask if anybody has an official script because I thought he said not city open as well.
Yeah, actually, I should check. I didn't think to check that in the
draft.
In the draft, but I'll start looking for that in the background. But what he says is, I tell you what is, big city. Live, work, huh? But not city open is people's. People's is people's. No is buildings. Is tomatoes, huh? Is people's. Is dancing. Is music. Is potatoes. So, people's is people's. Okay?
Beautiful delivery.
Brilliant words of wisdom.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what it's supposed to mean, if it's actually supposed to mean anything. I mean, people's is definitely, that is a wise bit of a turn of phrase.
Well, and I think Noah's buildings also, I mean, here's the thing. Corporations aren't people. All right. Pete knows it.
Right. So it's like the important thing in a city isn't the buildings or the physical things. It's the people.
It's who you meet there.
City. Yeah.
It's why he's giving Kermit free soup.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
You can't lose with the reflexive property.
Reflexive property. Remind me what that is.
It's A equals A.
A equals A, yeah.
Oh yeah, peoples equals peoples. Yeah, exactly. That's that's what this speech is all about. Yeah, no. It's actually pretty good. I worked with somebody who told me that his grandmother, who was from Poland, liked to say all kinds people make world, which I always felt like is kind of in the same neighborhood as just like a very simple way of saying like, it's people. People are important.
Yeah. I used to watch this movie all the time my junior year of college with my roommate, who's still one of my very best friends. And we just loved quoting this over and over. And my father is Greek, and his nickname is Pete. It's not his real name, same as my real name is also not Peter. It's one of those kind of anglicized, not really translations, but just sort of like, your name starts with P and it's got too many letters. We'll call you Pete.
Sure.
And he's got a pretty thick accent. And so he always used to, we always used to joke about my dad in this way. And then one time I'm hanging out with my friend, and my father is, he's pontificating, and he goes, people. And we just sit there and we wait for it. He goes, our people. And it was just like, we were so close. We were so close.
He almost
that's
did
so
it.
good.
So
it was 15 years after we had lived together. It was a beautiful moment.
yeah, that's great. So that like, did you sort of, when you watched this movie as a kid, did you sort of feel an attachment to Pete?
A little bit, and I fully believed that the actor was Greek based on certain pronunciations of his. It's not in this scene. I always conflate the is bears is chickens and things with belonging in this speech. But later on in the movie, he's writing to everybody to come back, that they're going to find Kermit and it's time to put on the show. And I think he goes, deer frogs and seekins and things, and it's that for chickens instead of the ch sound. There is no ch sound in Greek. There is no sh sound. There is no j sound or j sound. And even though he does call Jenny Jenny with a hard J, he the way that he said seekins always made me think like, this guy is legitimately Greek. He comes off as very Greek, right? But it turns out that is it Zorich? I always thought it was Zorich, but I don't know.
It's probably Zorich.
I always get it wrong. If there's a way to say an actor's name wrong, I always pick the wrong.
I said Zorich, but it's probably Zorich. I don't know.
But he turns out that he is his parents were Croatian immigrants. And I actually looked it up after this, in preparation for this, and there is a hard CH sound in Croatian, but he's married to Olympia Dukakis.
Right.
Who is famously Greek, of course.
Famously Greek, right? And so I'm sure that he picked that little snippet up somewhere in a Thanksgiving dinner with some in-laws or something, or maybe she was reading over his shoulder and said, you wouldn't say chickens.
Yeah, and they've been married for like over 20 years at this point.
At that point, yeah, they've been married. Yeah. They got married at some point in the 60s. So
in the 60s,
I always, I bought into that because I, there are performances of people who are supposed to be Greek in other movies. I mean, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, God Love Lady Kazan, but like she does not try to do the accent.
Right.
So I'm sensitive to that, and I couldn't believe when I eventually found out that he wasn't. It's very convincing.
Yeah, he really went for the authentic accent. I'm wondering if we need to explain who Olympia Dukakis is, but I guess anyone who doesn't know her by name is probably not going to know her if we say, oh, she's in Moonstruck. So I guess you can look her up, but she was actually, she's still with us?
Still alive.
I believe so.
Yeah.
He passed away a couple of years ago. They were married until he died.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, Olympia Dukakis also a great actor.
Steel Magnolias.
Yes,
she was in a lot of things.
Jane Austen's Mafia.
Oh yeah, I remember loving that when I saw it.
Classic 90s spoof.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since it was in the theater, but I loved it.
I'm sure it's not very good, but I did too.
Yeah. Yeah, so
related to presidential hopeful Michael Dukakis.
Yeah, remind me. They're like she's like their first cousins or something. Is that right? Yeah. First cousin.
Wow. So we love Pete and we love Louis Zorich and Olympia Dukakis. So actually our clip kind of ends right there. It's really perfect timing. We like to joke when a clip ends right in the middle of a line of dialogue, but we have just enough time for Kermit to sort of sit there for a second and absorb what Pete has just said. And he says, yeah, thanks. That helped a lot.
Well, and he does the sheesh face, which is great.
Yeah,
he does that
little scrunchy face. And that's
thing where he turns down his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the clip. So
yeah, I think it's a little funny because Kermit's like, "You're really weird," and I'm just like, "You're a talking frog." So
it's true,
right.
Yeah. So,
and you're broke, so how about thank you?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean, he does say thank you.
Does he say thank you? Okay.
He says thanks. That helped a lot. Yeah.
Oh, he does.
He says it's
there's
sarcastic. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really sincere.
He says, "Get out of here, Pete. I don't want your Yankee bean soup."
Yeah, or your spoon.
He says,
I'm condemning this place because of the rats.
You can keep your spoon.
Well, the rats aren't there yet. Well, no, there is one rat. So yeah, that should be enough for the health inspector.
Mm-hmm. And then Pete shoves this. Maybe not.
I don't know.
In New York in the 80s, we didn't have the grading system yet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there were no A, B, or C grades in the windows of every restaurant. I'm trying to remember the details. This I don't think is too specific, like inside New York, but there was. Remember, Peter? There was It was by the West 4th Street subway station. There was, I think, a KFC that was found to have rats like all over it.
I do.
This made national news, though, by the way. You could find this in national news.
I thought it was a Taco Bell.
Maybe it was a Taco Bell. That's what I was trying to remember, if it was a KFC or a Taco Bell or a combination. But like, there were videos of just like inside this restaurant, there were rats just running around everywhere. All over the benches, the tables, the counters.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so that place got shut down in a hurry. I'll look for a news story on that and include that in the show notes. That's the reality. It's not so cute when it's not Muppets who can, sing and scat and make jokes.
When here in the Twin Cities, we don't have rats in our restaurants. We just have like deer walking around in the middle of the city. Well,
a deer wouldn't be cause to shut down a restaurant. So you're lucky.
That's right. Unless they go in, maybe, which they don't. That doesn't happen. Really.
If the deer take over the restaurant.
Yes.
I know that this is anecdotal, but one of the results of, I think, less people being around during this time of coronavirus is that the rats have gotten more aggressive.
Oh, I bet.
We were, I took the subway last week for the first time, and through one of the doors opened and closed at some platform I wasn't getting on, and there was a rat just standing there right on the platform.
Was he waiting for the next train?
I don't know. Maybe he was connecting.
Yeah, he was waiting for the express.
He wasn't wearing a mask, so he couldn't get on the train.
Yeah. Somebody's got to make some little tiny masks for those rats,
right?
All right. So before I ask you for your final thoughts, I had one more thing from the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay. There is a very silly gag in this scene that was intended for a celebrity cameo. After Kermit tells Pete they're working on a Broadway show, another customer sitting on a stool turns to Kermit and says, "Wait a minute, I heard what you said. You don't have to put this show on Broadway. I've got a barn you can use." And then he jumps up, and the script says he uses the floor of the coffee shop like a stage. He says, "Why, my sister can make the costumes, and Pete can make the scenery. My brother's got an old piano we can use. There's some lights in my garage, and we can get all the neighborhood kids to sell tickets. It'll be terrific. Come on, what do you say?" And then he stands with his arms and legs spread wide, and he realizes that everyone in the diner is just staring at him. So he pulls out some cash and pays his bill and walks out the door saying, sorry, just an idea, just a thought. And then the scene continues.
It's Mickey Rooney, right? Like, well, that's the only way that scene works.
That's right. I can only assume that they were thinking, they were hoping that they could get Mickey Rooney for that, because he was in all those old musicals that had that kind of thing. Let's put on a show. Right. Yeah.
It was too late to get Judy Garland, right?
Right. Yeah, she died 15 years before this.
Yes, definitely.
But spoilers for later. Her daughter was available.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
Huh. Yeah. So, I think actually if that had happened, it would have sort of undercut the effectiveness of Pete's speech.
Yeah.
So I think I'm glad it's not in here, but it would have been fun to see. And of course, Mickey Rooney did make it into a Muppet movie.
He did.
He has an extremely brief cameo in the Muppets 2011. So
yes,
when he was like 100 years old.
He was 91, I think.
Yeah, well, pretty close.
Yeah.
All right. So, any final thoughts about these minutes, Peter? I will start with you.
Well, you didn't ask me what my favorite, where this ranked in my.
Well, no, we'll get to that, or you can.
Oh, that happens at the end. Okay.
Yeah, no, you can do it now if you want. And do you remember like the first time you saw it and watching it growing up?
Watching this was definitely the one that I felt like was on the most growing up, and it would be the first one that I would have seen in the theater. I think that I might have been like 2 when the Great Muppet Caper came out. And this was definitely, I think, my favorite Muppet movie growing up. It has that sort of nostalgia, like, oh, I've always loved this kind of place in my heart. But I, having gotten older, do think that the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper are better movies than it is. They also benefit from not having Piggy in a perm. That is,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. And like I love the songs in this. I love so many things about the Muppets Take Manhattan. Obviously, like it also felt, having grown up right outside of New York, it was just like, oh my gosh, it's here. They're right there.
Yeah, recognizing the locations.
So that felt very real, and of course, loving Broadway. But
yeah, you're a big theater fan.
Oh yeah. And then eventually, this another spoiler for later. I didn't really learn this until I was in my late teens, but finding out that Ronnie Crawford was played by Lonnie Price, just having come off of the iconic but spectacular failure of Merrily We Roll Along.
Post Merrily We Roll Along, pre Dirty Dancing, Lonnie Price.
Yes, that's sweet spot.
And he goes on to have like a really big career as a director, so and producer in real life. So good on Lonnie Price. He didn't let failure get him down.
Yeah. Yeah, and he made a documentary about the failure of Merrily We Roll Along. So
he did.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that when he makes his next appearance in this movie. Anthony, any final thoughts on this clip from you?
No, we covered all my notes.
All right, then with that, we will wrap things up for this week. Everyone, please make sure you check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. You can email us at movinrightalong@toughpigs.com about this clip or future clips or whatever you want to talk about. And I should mention that our theme music is by Stacey Rosen. Our logo is by Morgan Davey, so we give our thanks to them. You can find me on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. Peter, where, if anywhere, can people find you on the internet?
In Allison Bartlett's neighborhood.
Ooh. Let's hope she's not listening.
So weird. I hope she's not listening.
That's right. No, there is zero chance of Allison Bartlett hearing this podcast. So
you can go to Tough Pigs. You can go to Tough Pigs and search for my name, and I think like 3 reviews come up from Studio DC.
You did a couple Sesame Street seasons for us.
I did a couple Sesame Street season 1. Yeah. It turns out that the kids on Studio DC ended up having because I went back and reread that review recently. They ended up having way longer legs from a longevity standpoint than I thought they were gonna. So
it's like Selena Gomez and
my apologies to Demi Lovato and Cole Sprouse.
Yeah, who would have thought?
And little Zac Efron, as Miss Piggy insisted on calling him.
But he's not in it though, right? It's one of those weird things.
No, that's the joke where like she keeps looking for little Zac Efron. He was too good for Studio DC.
But Ashley Tisdale is in it. She's the comic relief character from High School Musical.
I know, and I thought that she was the one who would maybe go somewhere. No.
Yeah, me too. I did.
She's Candace on Phineas and Ferb. That's not nothing.
No, that's not nothing. You're right. Yeah,
I mean,
it's a great role. I mean, the voice acting, but it's a great role.
Well, she's the star of the new Phineas and Ferb movie, right? Isn't that like Candace takes over the world or something?
Candace against the universe. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not as. I don't big Phineas and Ferb fans in my house.
Right.
I don't Phineas or Ferb, so I don't know what anybody is talking about.
I think you would like it. I mean, and I don't know. You have kids. It's a hilarious show. Muppety sensibility. I don't know, man. Check it out.
I bet we would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listeners,
there's so much to check out.
Listeners, check out Phineas and Ferb on Disney Plus. And
on Disney Plus,
yeah. And if you don't mind, please give us a positive review somewhere and tell your friends about this podcast. And join us next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. See you then.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.